Hi, thank you for joining me for Shell's Pearls of Wisdom. I am here today with the beautiful Joe, aka.
Misdemeanor.
How you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, hanging in there, surviving the whole quarantine. I know that you've been busy, busy, busy,
Same.
busy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know if you've had a time to
The
be
downfall of being an
quarantined.
essential worker.
Yeah, yeah, she is a. So you are considered a essential worker, right?
Yes.
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 But we'll get into that a little bit later, so you can find out what that is. Um, so Joe, let's just kind of start with like the beginning here. Like, how was your childhood? Like, where did you grow up, and what did your family do?
I was actually born in Illinois. My dad was in the military, so I was an Army brat. I spent a lot of time traveling. Most of it was in Texas. We eventually came back up to this area and settled. My dad is a really big gearhead. He has a variety of Cutlass S's. So I kind of got it from him. I got my passion for cars from him. I was the only child, and being a girl, I kind of just didn't have a choice. Hand me a wrench, hold the flashlight here, kind of thing. But yeah, so that he's the one that gave me my passion. I have awesome parents that I'm still really close to. He has a barn full of parts. He just sent me a text message that he has a transmission for me. So.
Aw, well, nothing says love like a transmission.
Well, car parts. I'll take any car parts.
Right, you're like, I'll take any car part. Um, so not only did you say that your family is basically like a car family, um, you yourself, have taken in that love as well, and we'll get into that a little bit later of how you are literally underneath the cars yourself, fixing and installing. And she just told me a few minutes ago that after this video that she's going to go pull an engine and like all this cool stuff. And I'm just kind of like intrigued by that. I kind of want to see that happen. But yeah, that's really cool. Um, so let's just fast forward a little bit to your early 20s. What's going on around that time of your life?
So I went to college in Florida. I have a degree in travel and tourism, and those who know me know that I'm totally not using that degree whatsoever. And
You
uh,
do. You work on
uh,
cars and stuff, and that's kind of like travel, you know. I'll give it to you.
I had met my now ex-husband while I was working at a hotel. We were together for a very long time. Eventually got married. It was not a good relationship nor a good marriage. I just think that I was at a place in my life that my self-esteem, this is what I thought I deserved.
Yeah.
He was a binge alcoholic, uh,
What does that mean
which
for
was
people that don't know
incredibly,
what binge alcoholism is?
he wasn't a daily drinker. He could go weeks. He used to coach football for a local high school, and he could go that entire season without drinking. But once he would start drinking, he would literally to the point of passing out. It just completely wasted. And he would do that for several days or a couple of weeks, and then he would go without drinking again for a while. So it was very unpredictable. Um, and didn't drink at home. He never drank at home. So we'd always go out to a bar to go drink. That caused there was infidelity going on at the bar, and it caused a lot of tension, especially because in there, I transitioned out of the travel and tourism industry and got into my current line of work, and that it got to a point that I had to tell him, you have to make a decision. It's between alcohol or your family, because if he had gotten one more drunk driving, it was a felony, and I couldn't be married to a felon. Um, I will say that shortly after we did split up, he did get that one more OWI, and he is now a felon. So
Oh wow.
there's that. Yeah.
With
Yeah, it was
the with that being said, Joe, how was it to be in an environment where it almost seemed kind of like a hostage situation when he would be binge drinking and, even though he wasn't in the home, I'm sure eventually you would have to come home. And then how was that interaction?
There was a lot. Well, he was a manipulator, so a lot of it, in his eyes, was my fault. Even his mother is a daily alcoholic, and I do remember a conversation with her one day, telling me that I need to take some responsibility for this. Why am I taking responsibility for your son's drinking? I don't understand
Right. I
that.
mean, I don't think you were at the bar giving him the drink. So how is that your
No,
responsibility?
no, no. And unfortunately, he made poor choices when he would be drinking, like driving home, even though I would tell him, just call me. I will come get you. Just call. And he would never call. He would just drive home. I've had mornings where I've had the police knocking on my door. He had put a car up onto the curb and left it there and walked the rest of the way home. And
Yeah.
it's very humiliating.
Yeah.
It took a lot to get out of that marriage.
Yeah. And by then you had a child, right?
I did. He was only a year and a half old when I left him.
How was that
Yeah,
knowing
that
that
was
you're
tough.
gonna?
That was a hard decision because I had never, yeah, I'd never wanted that label of being a single mom. That scared the crap out of me. Um, and that was a hard one. That was actually, I'll be honest with you, that after my son was born, that label was the only reason why I think I stayed. I didn't want to be a single mom, and I knew how hard that was going to be. So
I
I
have a
stayed.
real. So now we're fast forwarding to the fact you made the decision. You decided to walk away from the marriage. Now you're gonna be that single mom. I know you're terrified, but you did it. What was the final straw that was like, I don't care even about being a single mom. I'm going to leave.
He needed to have surgery on his shoulder, and he said he was going to go up north to go, camping and fishing one last time because that was, he wasn't going to be able to do that for like 6 months. Sure. I get a call from a small town police department asking if I own, whatever vehicle. Yes, I do. They found it upside down on a back road, and there's smashed beer bottles all over the place. There's blood, and
Oh
no
God.
driver. I'm like, okay, well, that would be my husband. So I drove the 4 hours to go look for him. I
Oh
found
my
him.
God.
I put him in the back seat. A friend of mine drove. She had a Mustang. We put him in the back seat. He's a really big dude, very big. Crammed him back there, so he was essentially trapped. And we drove him to the police department, and I turned him in. That was
Wow.
really hard.
You turned in your own husband, huh?
I did, and that was it. That was where I made my decision.
Well, good for you. I'm glad that you were able to find the strength and look past your fear and do what was best for you and your son. Yeah.
Yeah, it had to be done.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that no matter how hard it was, from the little bit I know you and the little bit of stories that you told me about your son and how proud you are of him, I think you made the absolute right decision.
Yes, I definitely did.
Yeah. So that brings us to about 34 now. You're about 34, and this is the time when you decided to make it official. So you're divorced.
Yes, and that was like the time that I took to discover myself. I had in past relationships, and actually right afterwards, right after my divorce, I got involved with somebody on, stupidly, that I work with. Huge mistake. And even through that relationship, mainly because I don't think I recovered from my marriage yet, um, it always molded myself into what I thought this man wanted. I did that with my ex-husband. I did that with that particular boyfriend. Even in high school, I used to do that. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of women are guilty of doing that.
Does that come from
It
just
was
wanting to
after I
please
broke up.
people, or why do you think that that's part of your personality where you would do that?
You know, there was a little bit of there was a little bit of sexual abuse as a child by a step uncle, I guess you could call him. I'm not sure. So that I think a little bit of that got me down a path of using sex inappropriately. That's what I thought I was only good for. And then that got me into, that obviously leads to poor relationship choices and poor choices in men in general. And that started that path. And, now I'm able to look back and go, oh, now I see what I did there. Oh, now I understand why I did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But of course, at the time I didn't. But eventually it kind of snowballed into me feeling like nobody would want me for me, all of me, that I got a lot of tattoos. I like this kind of music. I like playing with cars. I like riding my motorcycle. This is what I like, but nobody's going to want all of that. So I'm going to have to give stuff up and change a little bit of myself to make or to fit with somebody else. That's at least the way I was viewing it. So in my early 30s, mid 30s, really, that's when I started doing things for me, and that's where I started finding more of myself. And I can say this because he's friends with my husband now, but there was one summer I was a cougar and I dated a man 15 years younger than me.
Hey, you just had a little bit of a Stella got her groove back, that's all.
It was a huge confidence booster for me, and it was so needed at that time. I knew it wasn't going anywhere, but I needed it.
Yeah.
And after that, everything just kind of took off from there.
You just need that spark. You just need that spark to make the fire, baby.
Yes.
That's all you need. He was your little spark, and he lit your fire.
That's right.
I love
and he's
it.
happily married with 2 kids now.
You're like, that's a disclaimer. Let's just put that in there.
Yep. He was like 23 years old.
You were a cool. I love it though. You were like, talk about a bad Bettie. There you go. Now, that kind of brings us to meeting your future husband, who I just found out today that his name is not Cooper and it's Jeff.
Everybody knows him as Cooper. It's okay. We met the very traditional way online. And it was the first time that I felt like I didn't have to give up any part of me to be with this man. He liked it all.
Great.
Yeah, he liked it all. So that's been a huge relief.
Joe, how does it feel for a man to love all of you? You've never had that. How does that feel?
No, it's awesome. It's easy. It makes things way, way easier. Yeah, he likes the same things I do. We like to go do the same things. And even if I'm into something that he's like, whatever, he tells me to go do it, or I'll say, I'm going to go down and see April in Chicago. Okay, need some cash? I don't know. We have zero trust issues. We have complete faith in each other. It's so refreshing. And I cannot believe it took me until my 40s to find that.
You know what? I say the fact that you found it is just what's the positive part, because you could have been the woman that stayed in a really bad situation just because. And just imagine if you did not take the chance. Not only would you have not met Mr. Cooper, but you also would have been miserable and not finding who Joe was. So it's okay that it took time. It took that buffer gave you time to find out who you were.
Right. And it gave me time to know what I won't accept and what I will accept. And that's big too.
Yeah. And you
Don't
got to be a cougar.
size.
um, so let's go into your field of work because we kind of skipped over that a little bit. Around the age of 21, you changed out of the career of basically like hospitality with like travel and the hotel business and things of that nature, and then you discovered your new career. What was that?
I did a ride along with a local police department and I fell in love. I knew immediately just by that ride along, this is what I was meant to do. It's not a job, it's not a career, it is definitely a calling. I was a reserve officer for, I don't know, probably about 5 years or so. I dispatched for a local police department, a small police department for 5 years. And eventually at 28, I became a sworn deputy with my local sheriff's department. So yeah, that was a huge change from being a manager of a front desk of a hotel to, carrying a gun.
Yeah. That's a very big change, I would say. Carrying a pen to a gun is a big upgrade. So how long did it take for you to make detective that you are now?
It took me 17 years, but I've had a really great career. I spent 15 years on a horse for my department. I worked in our targeted enforcement unit. So we did park patrol and we got into all kinds of stuff. I've done undercover prostitution work. I've had.
Wait, were you the undercover prostitute?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool. So, did you catch anybody?
Oh yeah. I had one guy driving an Audi offer me $15 for both, and I really didn't want to write that on an arrest report that I would go as low as $15 for both, but I really wanted the arrest, so I agreed to it. And then it turned out he didn't even have any money on him. So I went back and I started screaming at him that he was going to rip me off, and now I got to put $15 down on an arrest report and that you were going to rob me.
You're like, it better be more than $15. That's all I got to say. That had to be the conversation. I don't mind that he thinks I'm a prostitute, but a $15 one? What?
I got my standards.
Right. Like I have standards, my friend. Okay, nothing less than $50. 50 is the lowest number I'll go. That's so cool. So, yeah, wow, I did not know that. That's awesome. That's so cool.
So yeah, now I'm in the general investigations, but we have a really small criminal investigation division. So for us, it's whatever case comes in. It could be a fraud case, and then the next week, it's a battery in a park or sexual assault. I personally have put myself through tons of human trafficking training, so I like to think of myself as the resident expert on human trafficking.
Oh, wow.
We just solved an especially hard homicide on the 24th. We made an arrest on that I was primary on, so I'm kind of excited about that. That was very cool. I mean, not that somebody died,
that is not kind of cool. That is super cool. You're like living my TV dream right now. Like seriously, you're living like my TV dream. You're like my career crush right now. Gosh, I don't even know what to say about that. That you caught a murderer. Like that's awesome. The best thing I ever did was like wrap a wound. Like I've never caught a criminal. So that's really awesome. And so you just love your job at this point?
I do. I do. I mean, there was obviously a lot of obstacles as well. It's a very male dominated field, but then again, I mean, my hobbies all tend to be male dominated, whether it's riding a motorcycle or working on cars or whatever. I kind of just scoff at stereotypes. um, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard to find that balance where you're taken seriously either by the public or even by your fellow officers too, but yet you still have to maintain some femininity. And when I came in, there were still some old school thoughts. I had a captain, he would call me in every week and he would yell at me for something every single week. And it turned out, I found out later, he felt women didn't belong in law enforcement. And I don't know why he just singled me out on my shift in particular, but I had my hair in a ponytail, and he told me that one day some man is going to grab me by that ponytail and throw me into traffic. I worked on the freeway, and this was literally 2 years of him doing this on a weekly basis, and I was done. So I said, yeah, that's fine, because he's going to follow me because I'm going to have a firm grasp on his balls. He never called me into his office again. I was done.
Nice.
So, it's a learning curve within, the career as well. When to stand up for yourself and when to just let it go.
Yes. No, that was brilliant. And he probably thought to himself, okay, I'm not going to mess with her because she likes to grab balls and pull them. He was a very smart man. Back away. That is your cue. Step away. Oh, wow. Have you ever been hurt in the line of duty?
Yes. I had an ankle injury in 2016 during the Sherman Park riots.
Oh, wow.
It was Simcoe weekend. And I remember getting the text messages, and it was that Sunday night that I got injured. I've been in a few squad accidents. And then my most recent, somewhat humiliating injury is I tried out for our motor unit. I was chosen, but those are really big, heavy bikes. And at one point when I put it down, which everyone does, disclaimer, you drop your bike a lot during training, a lot, everybody. My ankle got caught and I twisted my knee and I tore my meniscus. So I'm still kind of recovering from that, but yeah. So yes, I've fallen off my horse at least once a year.
Well, people can say that I've fallen off my horse, and not a lot of people, say that. So that's just kind of cool that you can even say you fell off your horse. I'm just saying. Well, I hope that you heal to the best of your ability from that injury, because I know that had to hurt like hell. Yeah, I'm like, from my standpoint of my career, I know that hurt like hell. So
yes.
I hope that you're doing better and it doesn't keep you out your heels.
No.
And
that was part of my physical therapy. I'm like, I got to wear heels this weekend. I don't have a choice. I got to wear heels.
Right. You're doing like all your therapy in like platform heels and stuff so that you can get used to it. I love it. That's called dedication and determination.
Goals.
So, right. So to kind of like now jump forward after talking about your career and how much you love it. Obviously, you've been very successful because you moved right up the career ladder.
I have one thing I got to add because I'm super as part of my career, again, screw the stereotypes. In 2010, I joined our SWAT team as a hostage negotiator. So I've been a member of the SWAT team for 10 years.
Are you serious? All right.
Yeah.
So you put murderers in jail. You've been an undercover prostitute, which is just awesome.
I'll show you.
You're on SWAT?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't. Like I said, I don't break down doors. I don't wear the big turtle suit or anything, but yeah. Something I'm proud of.
You should be very proud of it. even on TV, they do not portray women in these kind of roles. Even when you're on
No.
TV, even if the woman's a detective, she always has a partner that's a male detective, and he takes the lead on everything. It's never like she's the main person. And even when you see SWAT, you don't see a lot of women representing a negotiator on like the TV shows and stuff. And I always thought it was
No.
weird that they never had a woman negotiator, because I think by trade, women are negotiators when we were born. We learn how to negotiate.
Right?
That's just like part of our superpower. So
Yeah.
I just think it's so badass. Like, I love it when I discover stuff at the same time, and I don't know. It's really cool. I didn't know that. Wow. Okay. Well, anything else you want to tell me about your career? Have you ever, like, detail for the president at Secret Service? Like, what else did you do?
Well, I've been in a lot of presidential motorcades, but no, nothing that cool.
Even that's cool. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, as I was saying, you have been climbing up the career ladder. And in the meantime, you met Cooper, but before that, you were a single parent. How was that, trying to like keep your career on track and like raising a now your biggest fear being a single parent? Now, not only are you a single parent, but you're in like this really demanding role for a career. How did you get through that?
That was hard, and that thankfully I have a great mom. Because I was second shift and I didn't have a choice. That was seniority. It's just what I'm stuck with. It's either quit or stay with it. So she would come down, she'd stay with my son and pick him up from school and stay with him till I got off work at 11 o'clock. It was hard because I didn't get to see him very often. But, I think it made me value my time with him. And part of it was kind of scary too, that, something happens to me, custody goes back to the jackass. And that made me nervous,
Yeah.
So I was probably very extra careful in my work, but not that I wouldn't be normally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of stress being a single mom and being in that line of work.
Yeah. It had to be scary. I'm sure. I'm sure you had a lot of moments where you're like, I just want to make it home to my son. And that's
Yeah.
the bottom line. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So now we can fast forward again and get back to Cuba. So you met him in 2012, and you found out that you guys had a lot of similarities, and he finally made you an honest woman in 2015,
Yes.
and you get to marry him. And just tell me a little bit about that experience with coming from a divorce from a marriage that was not so great. How does it feel to be with somebody, like you said, that accepted you? You guys have similar interests.
It was a relief. We have no trust issues. We have such a good relationship. It's all total trust, faith, and friendship. He's my
And
friend.
respect. He has a lot of respect for you.
Oh
I can
yeah,
tell.
absolutely,
I can
absolutely.
tell.
He supports me with whatever I want to do. I remember when I was first back into the dating scene, because you got to think about it. I was the very first time I went on my first date, I was in my 30s. Prior to that, I went from a high school sweetheart to meeting my first husband, and we never really dated. We just were a couple right away. There was no dating, so it was weird.
And then you had to do it through the apps, so that's new.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he made it very easy. He was super supportive about everything. If I want to try something new, he's great with it. If I want to go visit a friend in Chicago, he gives me money and waves goodbye. There's zero trust issues. And that's, I think with most women can relate at some point in life. That's
every
huge.
woman and man's dream is to find someone that you have trust with, because everything else goes to the wayside if you don't have that. So it's really good, especially when you came from a relationship where you did not have that. So I know that you had to be like, this is just 5 times better. With Cooper, just to give him like a little bit of a piggyback of how awesome he is, he totally was, the first time I met him, the only time I've met him, He was there supporting Joe during a competition that we'll get into, and he was just such a like almost like he had his arm around his girl, like this is my girl. Like it was just like you could tell that he was so incredibly proud of you.
Except when you were around, because then he totally did the really bad married man flirting. he has
But
a
he was
slight.
so. But the thing about it, Joe, he was so bad at it that it was cute. It was just like, oh, you're like, oh, you're so cute. So that kind of brings us into like your true pinup world. I know that you've always had like the love for vintage cars and for all that kind of jazz, but you were expressing to me that after being in the first marriage and having to sacrifice who you really were and who you wanted to be, you said in between you also had a girlfriend that kind of discouraged you too, because you wanted to do both. You wanted to do your pinup world and you wanted to be, under the car, in the hood, doing car stuff. And like, tell me about that kind of toxic friendship.
Yeah, I got out of cars during my marriage. We didn't have the money for one, but this is how badly I wanted to be divorced from my first husband. I sold my '68 Chevelle so I could hire an attorney. That's how
Oh,
bad I wanted
wow.
out.
Oh, you wanted out.
And
You were like, I'm done.
after, oh yeah, yeah, yes. So after meeting Jeff, he shares my love of cars as well, and motorcycles. And, we went and got my 51 Chevy, and I got involved in a group. I started doing pinup. I shouldn't be back up. I started doing pinup, did a couple competitions, or probably a half dozen, and got involved with the group. And she was very discouraging about that because she said nobody would take me seriously as a car girl if I did pinup. I don't know. I allowed myself some self-doubt and believed her. So I got out for like 4 years. I stopped doing shows and competitions and stuff like that, contests. And I didn't start getting back into it until the fall of 2018, and I started competing again. And I realized it's what comes out of my mouth that guys are going to take me seriously. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing. Because I'll talk cars with guys when I'm fully pinned up, and they, even if I don't know them, they respect me because what's coming out of my mouth matches my knowledge.
I love to say they don't care as long as you know what the hell you're talking about.
Right.
Don't get in front of me acting like a ditzy girl, acting like, oh, I know all this stuff. No, you come up there showing what you know, they're gonna respect you, girlfriend. Right. I'm glad that you did not allow for her to keep you out of the world that long, and I'm glad that you got back in.
I am too.
Yeah, I'm very happy because I would have never met you. It's all about me. I would have never met you. Thank you for getting back in. So in 2018, you also started something else that was kind of cool.
Yes, I started a business. It goes by the same name as me. It's Misdemeanor Designs, but I make sweater clips, and I use old clip-on earrings, and I repurpose them into sweater clips. Like this one is, these earrings I think are from the late 40s, and then the chain is actually from a vintage necklace as well. That's kind of really been progressing. As a matter of fact, while we were talking, I had a little display pop up on my tablet that said, I just had somebody order 12 earrings from me. So, yay! So, yeah, I vend at car shows. And I started now converting clip-on earrings into pierced earrings as well. So that's something new. And I'm getting into selling other vintage things, from housewares to clothes to hats, because everyone knows I'm a hat hoarder.
It's okay. I hoard shoes. Like literally my glasses, I love shoes, and they're shoes. I'm a shoe hoarder, so it's okay. We can go to the shoe hoard and hat hoard anonymous groups together, because I have a little bit of a problem. It's okay. It's okay. I support you. So if somebody wanted to see some of your stuff or order something, where would they go?
to Misdemeanor, and that's MISSDMEANOR. So demeanor is without the one .com. And that'll take you to my website. Or to my Facebook page, Misdemeanor Designs. Same thing. You could shop there too.
I will throw up some pictures of that for you guys that are watching that are interested in her beautiful clips. I've actually personally seen a lot of her work because when I met her for the first time, we were doing a runway show for Christmas, and she brought like your box of them, and like I was able to rummage through, and I just didn't have a sweater on that day, so I didn't wear any. But definitely, she had a lot of really pretty, unique designs. And I didn't know that she made them out of earrings, but now that makes a lot of sense because I'm a little bit of an earring whore too. So that's probably why I thought they were so amazing, because they were just really sparkly and different shapes, different styles, very unique. If you want them, you'll find something to match everything that's in your wardrobe. So definitely check out her page and give her a little looky-loo while you guys are all in lockdown. You can't do anything anyway. You might as well internet search.
And I do custom work as well.
Well, then there you go. Now you
if
can
you have
turn
earrings that you want changed into a sweater clip or made into piers, send them to me, and for a small fee, I can change that.
Awesome. So definitely I'll put that information in the link for you guys so that you guys can click on it or beta look it up when you see it. And yeah, she does great work. Now we're going to kind of move past into like your first pinup contest. What year did you do your very first contest?
I think it was 20.
I think we
No, it was 2013 because I met Jeff in 2012, so it was 2013. Yes.
And what was the name of that?
It was the Blue Ribbon Beer Run in Milwaukee. It was a fantastic show. A lot of fun. It's not around anymore, but it was a great show.
And how did you do?
Horrible. But I had a lot of fun. And that's where I was like, oh, I want to do more of these. You know, it's such a big confidence booster, especially when you're not comfortable talking in front of a lot of people, you know. And now, you know, I instruct at our academy. It's totally given me confidence.
Yeah. You helped me when I was like going to do my first show, and you like gave me some pointers and some tips so that I wouldn't be nervous. And you told me like how to like give the judges, like look them in their eye, make your answer short, but not like too short where it doesn't seem like you're interested. Like she gave me a lot of great advice. So definitely for a baby pinup like myself to have someone with her like veteran skills and someone who's more confident and has gone through this, totally amazing to have that. And that's one thing I know that the pinup community is really good for, is the girls fixing each other's crown and making sure that you guys all look good, feel good, and show your best abilities. So thank you again for that. If I did not thank you enough, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And then let's go to, what is your first win?
That came around finally in 2019 at the World of Wheels in Milwaukee.
One of the biggest pinup shows there are, by the way, just in case people don't know. And she rocked it. I saw the pictures. You'll see the pictures too. She looked amazing. And you had like the smile from like here to here.
Oh yeah, totally wasn't expecting it. I told you before, I had thought my goal in 2019 was I just want to place in a contest just once, you know, because I'd been doing so many and nothing, right? You know, I just want to place. Right. So when they called Hannah's name and Jessica's name as, you know, the runners up, I'm like, aw, damn it. You know, I was so disappointed. Right. And then so when they called, or not name, number, when they called my number, I was truly stunned. I had like, oh. I have that picture somewhere. It's great.
Yes, I need to see it. I want to see that face of like pure shock. Oh wow. Well, it's been a journey for you, and I'm so glad that you're still competing. I'm so glad that I got to meet you at my first competition, which was World of Wheels, where you actually pass down your crown to the next one. So it's kind of made a full circle for me right now to like know that that was your first win. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
this is going to be their time for you to just kind of share to all of us, what is Joe's personal pro wisdom?
I gotta say is don't let anybody tell you you can't do something, especially yourself. I think we're our biggest obstacle. And, I started something amongst a group of friends that there was a woman in 1955 that got a title called Hatchet Queen. And I remember looking in this yearbook and I was laughing, like, wow, she looks really happy to be called Hatchet Queen. I'm assuming that hatchet had the same connotations in 1955 as it does today, but she looked like she owned it. And I thought, that's actually something to really live by. You may not always like the titles that life gives you, or sometimes you give yourself, but own them. I didn't want to be a single mom, but I owned that shit and I made it work.
And you
So,
rocked it. Yeah.
Don't let yourself tell you you can't do something, because you can.
Oh, well, that sums it up. I don't even have to say anything because that she said it all. Um, like I say at almost like every video I do, the pinup world is not just a hobby for these ladies. They are a lifestyle. It's an embracement of accepting who you are, what you look like, no matter what. Like Joe said, you can be tall, short, fat, skinny, black, white, blue, purple. It doesn't matter because they're trying to just promote a healthy image of oneself, period. And
Yes.
that is why I have personally fell in love with the whole entire community. So once again, thank you, Joe, for sharing your pearl of wisdom. Thank you for sharing your story with us. You
Thank
are a
you.
tremendous woman. You have come through the ringers with a lot of obstacles, but you came out on the other side a better person. And I know for a fact your son and Mr. Cooper are very proud of you. And those bad guys better watch out because she's coming for you.
I'm persistent. I will find you.
Right. There is no place to hide. So thank you once again, you guys, for joining me. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like, click, 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 and subscribe. And we will see you guys around next time. Thank you. Bye, Joe.
Bye. Thank you.
Pick up yet.